the number 5 top story this week is, are humans hardwired to form tribes and disagree? This is from Stack Harder, April 1st, SN territory, 22 comments, 780 sats. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, so Stack Harder is asking if we're tribal by nature. It seems like a consensus would be yes, we are tribal by nature. I would guess scientists would say that. I just feel like that is like a fact that I take for granted. I don't have any evidence for that. But I do think we form tribes fairly easily. I believe it was probably evolved to affiliate with people on some arbitrary thing and leverage each other to further each other. So yeah, I think we are tribal. What do you think?
I think especially in Bitcoin, it's super tribal. I really didn't ever experience that until I got into Bitcoin, to be honest, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, I felt like when I was, the only other type of community I ever experienced was in the music space before I got into Bitcoin. That's kind of similar, that I would be similar. So, but in music, there was a lot of the same types of people, where it was like the musicians, and then there was like the creative types. So, but it wasn't tribal. It was like very much everybody was helping each other type of thing. So when I came into Bitcoin, that was my mindset of like how I thought it would be. And then I slowly realized over time that it wasn't like that.
What do you think the tribes are in Bitcoin? If you had to name like the top 3 tribes.
Here, let me think about that. I think from what I can tell, I'm being completely honest here. I think from what I can tell, the tribes are circled around power. And it seems like there are certain individuals in Bitcoin and certain companies that just want power and control. And whenever I think of like individuals, they're tied to those companies, and they're tied to the to that control as well too. And then they just want more power. It's not even about like what's best for the ecosystem or what's best for the individuals. It's just literally about more control, more power. It's kind of sad, really, and that's what I think is the weird, the different thing in.
Let's see. So there are tribes around. That's like cult of personality. There are tribes around certain personalities who are accruing power.
Yeah, just for the sake of having more power and control. And I think it's because it is Bitcoin. It is because it is money. And so it's, and then you also see it kind of like around people chasing clout for the sake of clout, right? So like there will be people that will literally just talk about themselves for the sake of talking about themselves. And, you know, in music, like when I was going through that community, it was like other people talking about that musician was how word got around about how great of a musician you were. So like that's how people knew how great of a musician you were or how talented you were, was because other people were talking about you. That's how word spread about how great of a musician you were. So, but in Bitcoin, I've noticed it's the complete opposite. It's like you have to like clout chase and talk about yourself in order for people to know how great you are. And that to me just never really rubbed me the right way.
Oh, that's interesting. And that might be, I think you're associating that with the tribal nature of Bitcoin and these cults of personality, where they're kind of starving other people of power, recognition, because they don't want to take away from the power and recognition of themselves.
And that's the only two things I can correlate. But that's why, like for me, I can see it plain as day, because I came from that scene. And then, you know, what's funny is because whenever I talk about this, like behind the scenes with other people, and the people that get it the same way I do, I start talking to them and they're like, oh, they get it. And then you know where they're from? They're from like the music. They also were in a band, and they also came from that scene. So they also understand it too.
Do you talk to people in one of these tribes about this ever? And how do they respond?
What do you mean these tribes? Like,
well, you said there's like these cults of personality in Bitcoin, and they have followers. Do you talk to their followers ever and get a sense that they're aware of what they're like complicit in?
sure I have, like over a beer or something. But it's like talking to. It's just like something that it sounds more like you're just like hating or something. You know what I mean? Like
there's no way to convince.
Yeah,
someone
you can't. You like that's not something you're supposed to bring up, if that makes any sense. It's like, do you ever see 50 Cent and like Jay-Z? So they have like a big beef with each other.
Oh,
yeah. Did you know that? Yeah, and like 50 Cent will like every chance he gets, he like hates on Jay-Z.
Oh man.
And apparently, I didn't even know this, but 50 Cent like will always say like Jay-Z is like the most overrated rapper of all time, which I don't even think that's true, but apparently 50 Cent thinks it is. And he'll say that like Jay-Z like doesn't sell records, like he just doesn't sell records, but 50 Cent actually sells a ton of records, like worldwide. He like bang for bang, he sells more records than Jay-Z, and it's actually true when you look at it. But the music industry props up Jay-Z because of all his like key ties to the ecosystem. This is from what
better at making friends than 50 Cent maybe.
Yeah, or his ties to everything. Anyways, so I don't know how we got here, but
cool. Yeah, so they're tribes. They're tribes in Bitcoin are probably hardwired for them, and they're everywhere you look, and they're not necessarily bad. I think in many cases they're good. We'll do a book review today that kind of touches on this a little bit. One of my top stories, but yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. In any scene or in any ecosystem or in any industry, like everything that's great will rise to the top, and that's just inevitably how it plays out. And even if somebody tries to suppress something, I've just seen time and time again, you can't suppress something that's just meant for greatness. Like, that's what I've seen over and over and again. And when I've also noticed, like, especially in Bitcoin, even when people try to suppress things, you actually kind of force it up. It's kind of like putting a balloon underwater. You kind of just, the more you try to suppress it, the more you actually just force it. Yeah, you actually build it up even more. So
you make it real.
You actually make it happen faster. Yeah. So you're actually better off helping,
doing your thing. Yeah.
Staying in your lane. Yeah. Anyways, good stuff.
Good stuff.